Hello and welcome. Our top focus is on a major breakthrough in the DRC conflict. The DRC government and M23 rebels have announced a halt to fighting that has killed over 7,000 people this year. The government of the DRC and the M23 rebel group have issued a landmark joint statement declaring a ceasefire in the eastern region while they pursue a permanent truce. The M23 has taken control of strategic mineral-rich areas, with neighboring Rwanda accused of supporting the rebels. The surprise announcement came after mediation talks led by Qatar. The Gulf state is known for mediating several international conflicts. Qatar last month facilitated a rare meeting between the Congolese president, Felix Tshisekedi, and the Rwandan president, Paul Kagame. The meeting opened the door to direct talks between the DRC and the M23. Despite Congo's long-standing position of refusing negotiations with the group, the M23 and the DRC government have been engaged in direct talks in Doha. The statement called the talks frank and constructive. But as per reports, there were disagreements. Discussions were stalled over technical issues, and tensions flared over potential confidence-building measures, such as the release of prisoners linked to Rwanda and M23. Still, Qatar managed to pressure both sides into issuing a joint statement to keep working toward peace. The agreement sparks hope that this latest round of violence in a decades-long conflict tied to the 1994 Rwanda genocide might finally ease. The DRC accuses Rwanda of supporting the Tutsi-led M23 group, while Rwanda claims its forces are acting in self-defense against Congolese troops and Hutu militia linked to the Congolese. Now, the UN and several Western governments have backed Congo's allegations, citing evidence of Rwandan troop support to M23. But the conflict isn't just about politics. It's also about minerals. The M23 controls key zones rich in rare earth minerals, and Congo accuses Rwanda of using the rebels to plunder these minerals for global markets. Rebels have seized strategic towns, including Goma, Bukavu, and other mining hubs. Over 6 ceasefires have collapsed since 2021. While both sides now claim to be working toward a permanent truce, UN officials report fresh clashes in Walikale, which is a strategic mining region. The M23 recently withdrew from the area, calling it a goodwill gesture before peace talks. So, will the landmark agreement between the DRC and the M23 hold this time? Or will the fragile peace remain under threat? Now, for more on this, we have with us Dr. Eric Ndushabandi, Professor of Political Science and International Relations at the University of Rwanda and Associate Researcher at the Oclovian in Belgium. He is joining us live from Kigali in Rwanda. Thank you for being with us, Doctor.
Thank you very much for having me.
What are the key terms of the agreement between the DRC government and the M23 rebels? And how likely is it that both sides will adhere to the ceasefire in the long term?
Thank you very much. When you read this agreement, you can find that this is a very historic and decisive moment when we're talking about a conflict for many decades, as you said. This is linked to colonial legacy with separation of borders, where we left some Kinyarwanda speakers from one side in the DRC, from Zaire, and for other side in Rwanda. These have been a long-run conflicts where discrimination was linked with the bad governance in this Eastern Congo for long. So when you look at the terms of the agreement, you can see that there were different way or understanding of this conflict and the way this can be resolved. When you see this from the last few years, I have said M23 rebel group, which is focusing on defending rights of those Kinyarwanda speakers, Tutsis, and other Congolese, by the way, claiming for a radical change, a revolution, a systematic change. I think we can see that they have been claiming for resolving this conflict through dialogue and peaceful means. But the government of DRC was in the side of military means to resolve this. And this agreement is coming to bring together, the mutual understanding and share the commitment to go for peaceful solutions. And for these peaceful solutions, now we are seeing Qatar coming in, a new actor, by the way, compared to these traditional actors we used to see in this Great Lakes region, colonial masters, Belgium, France, or Washington, and other actors who have been very influential in the region. So Qatar is emerging a new actor in this way, and besides the linkage we know between Qatar and the US. So I think this peace talk couldn't be facilitated by anyone else who could be very neutral as Qatar in this business. But I know Qatar had very deep ties and relationship between Rwanda and Congo. But having Qatar in this talk as a facilitator is a new element. So what we have in this agreement, we can see a joint or committed orientation to dialogue and peaceful solution, which will go through a process of putting in place the truce and towards a ceasefire. But beyond this, you can see in the agreement that they are going deeper, engaging all communities and going to address root causes. When you touch at root causes, it means you go for a nation-building process. Peace is not elite around the papers, but peace is about those people who lost this peace for decades. So engaging in root causes, it means addressing the constraint linked to governance and discrimination, corruption, which have been very determinant or factors behind this conflict. So engaging in this and engaging communities in the process, it includes media, religious leaders. This we can read in the agreement, and I think the process is long than just signing an agreement and going for sharing position. It is committing to go deeper to address root causes. These have been, by the way, the demand of IFC M23, and I'm hoping that this will be. So the second question around how I can see the future. You know, this agreement, it is not the first one the DRC signed around this problem. We know M23 is coming from an agreement signed in 2009. So this requires a strong leadership and coherence between actors around the leadership in Congo. The coherence here will be the legitimacy of Tshisekedi and the power to go in parliament, judicial system to negotiate all conditionalities.
Yes, Doctor.
IFC M23 is putting in place here. And then the regional dynamics and international support.
Dr. Ndushabandi. Yes. We'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much for being with us on Firstpost Africa.
I thank you very much.
Greeting you with aloha and namaste.
No, I love India.
Presence, occupation of a territory by another country pertains to India. What we saw in Kashmir.
How do you see Trump's America?
Yes, the current administration behaves differently from the previous administration.
Are you saying that there are foreign powers who are trying to bring down the current government in Syria?
Exactly.
Iran, maybe Russia too.
Prime Minister Modi committed to South-South, cooperation.
Not over 50%. Is Ukraine prepared to pay the price for that peace?
No compromises at the cost of territorial integrity and sovereignty.